Alright, how's it going everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac and I'm here with a video on John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. And this movie came out 2019. It was actually supposed to be shot like before 4, like obviously because it's consequential number order, but or in sequential order, there you go. But they were supposed like 4 was supposed to be shot directly after, but due to, the virus, Mr. Vid, they had to postpone 4, so that's why it took 4 years for it to come out. And I found that super interesting. But as always, stars Keanu Reeves. You have some recurring characters, but I'm not gonna mention them because spoiler reasons. But also I forgot, I forgot their actors' names, which I apologize. That's really disrespectful. But also I want to take a moment to say rest in peace, Lance Reddick. I met him first in like as Captain Zavala, excuse me, Commander Zavala in Destiny. I also saw him here in John Wick, and he passed away a couple days ago. I think it was Friday or Saturday or around there. I think Friday. But really sad to hear. Really sad. First and foremost, he is a man who passed away too soon. Way too soon. Some people say, "Oh, but he was 60." It's like it doesn't matter, bro. People pass away too soon. There'll never be enough time before there's the right amount of time for them to pass. Only person that can dictate that is God and a person themselves if they think that they had a fulfilling life. But God rest his soul. God rest his soul. He will dearly be missed, or will surely be missed by his family, by his dogs. I saw that video too, and by the fans that he has amassed, and his roles that he's reprised. It's really sad to hear. And the two videos that I recorded before this one for John Wick 1 and 2, that those were pre-recorded, so that's why I didn't make any mention of it when it happened. But regardless, really somber note. Sad to see such a prominent actor pass away at the young age of 60. God rest his soul. But anyways, so pushing that aside for now. The spoiler-free review of this movie, it's a 9. It's really good. Like it's really really good. It's not better than 2 for me, and I'll get into that when I get into the spoiler reasons. But it is really good. If you think that this movie is better than 2, that I wouldn't blame you because it's fire. Like it's genuinely fire. There are so many good things about this movie, but some things for me kind of held it back. Like I didn't feel like some of the decisions in this movie were like in character, but that's just me going off of what I know and not like, oh, maybe there was some creative differences or whatever. Like it didn't feel right when some of the characters made decisions. I don't know. It was strange, but the fighting was the best it's ever been. That's for sure. And the story was good up until some parts that I didn't like, but it was really good. I feel like it was a good, not conclusion, but escalation of the events of the story. It makes sense that it would go this far. But overall, same old John Wick. Great action sequences with the reloading and no music when they're fist fighting or just fighting. Period. The fact that John Wick himself, he rarely says any lines, so when he does, it's important. It's fire. But it's just this movie is so good with the way that it follows the world building that it has. And I'm not gonna go into it, but it's just, oh man, this movie series is awesome, bro. It's so awesome. When you see action, like this is not what I expect when I think of it. It's so cool. I'm scared though because I saw that John Wick Chapter 4 is is gonna have a different director, but hopefully the idea still comes across. Hopefully it's not like a wet blanket of a movie. So I'm super excited. But yeah, it's a 9. 9 for sure. 9 out of 10. Not my favorite out of the 3, but definitely pretty good. So yeah, let me get into it. So John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. I I think that's what this one's called. Yeah, it's called Parabellum. But this movie takes place directly after the end of John Wick 2, where he's being hunted, he's excommunicado, and he basically just has to survive, bro. He has to live because the Continental, like globally, the high table is after him because he committed business in the Continental in New York. So everybody's after him, and like the first 20 minutes of the movie are him fighting people who are after him. And funny enough, one of the people who was after him was Boban, bro, from from the NBA. Yeah, like NBA, he's a real person, but he plays for the Houston Rockets. Used to play for the Dallas Mavericks, but the really tall guy in the State Farm commercials, with I forgot this dude's name. He whatever, but yeah, he plays for the Houston Rockets. It's cool. It's cool. I thought it was fire because that man is tall. Like it's him because the man is tall and his hands are big. But regardless, that was a cool cameo. After that, he goes to a theater where actually he was raised because he's Russian. And who would have thought, right? Would have thought that John Wick is Russian. But it also makes sense because he speaks Russian fluently as well. Well, as fluent as Keanu Reeves can do it. But regardless, he goes there and he brings out a cross that he got from there, and it's like, yo, I'm cashing in the favor, bro. Send me to Casablanca. And so the orchestrator of the theater is just like, all right, if that's the case, then we're cutting ties with you. Once this is done, we're cutting ties with you. And he's like, all right, bet. That's all I need. So he gets sent to Casablanca. And then there, because there's another continental there, it's in Morocco, he meets Sophia, or not meets, but gets reacquainted with Sophia, somebody who he's close with, because he used a marker on her. And he's cashing in the favor. He's cashing in the favor, like, yo, I need to use this marker. And she's like, dog, I don't want to, please. And he's like, I need this. I wouldn't ask for this if I didn't need it. And so she's like, all right, fine. Yeah, and consequences, remember that. So they go to meet the leader of the Continental, and he is just like, yeah, if you want to meet the elder, because that's what John is doing this whole time. He wants to meet the elder. He's just like, yeah, you can't go looking for him. He has to look for you. But the way to have him look for you, go to the desert, walk, and when you think you can't walk, keep walking, and he may find you, or not. He may let you die. And then the guy was just like, all right, but now I did a favor for you. You do a favor for me. What are you offering in return? And Sophia has two dogs, right? She has two not huskies, excuse me. I don't remember. Yeah, German shepherds, I think. No, no, no. German shepherds have more fur. I don't know, but she has two dogs, and the guy, he's just like, oh shoot, let me keep one of them. And then Sophia's like, no, I'm not letting you take one of my dogs. And instead, he's like, all right, cool. Then I'll kill it instead. And then he shoots one of her dogs. And Sophia is looking at the dog. It's like, bro, he shot my dog. And then she pulls out a gun and shoots him, bro. And has one of her dogs bite off his testicles. It's crazy. Like, every time it happened, it always hurt me, physically and emotionally. I can't imagine getting that area bitten off by a dog, bro. Like, because they have sharp teeth too. Like, the Sophia's dogs have crazy sharp teeth. But now they're fighting. John Wick and Sophia are fighting out, like trying to get out of the Morocco Continental, bro. And it is crazy. It is genuinely crazy. Or not, well, they're not in the Continental. It's more like they're in an area close to it, but they're still performing business. So they're basically being hunted. Sophia is not safe at all. He's not going to be safe when she comes back. So they're fighting, they're getting out, they're brawling. And this set piece right here, where they're just fighting in the desert, or not in the desert, but in the city near the desert. Oh my gosh, but it was so cool. It was so cool. Like the first 20 minutes of fighting were sick, but this set piece was fire. Oh my gosh, this really felt like the movie was just starting to get like crazy, crazy. Because in the beginning, it's just setting up, it's normal John Wick stuff. But here, when they get to Morocco, it's really when it gets crazy, bro. Really crazy. But regardless, they fight their way out. Crazy scene, really crazy scene. I thought it was so cool because they were getting so creative with it. Not like John Wick 2 creative, like with the subway scene, but definitely creative with the dogs, for sure. The dogs allowed for so much, like just creativity and interesting ways of killing somebody, which is crazy to think about, right? But regardless, they find a car and they go out, drive out to the desert. There, Sophia leaves him be with some water. She spits in it, really nasty. That left a sour taste in my mouth. I was just like, come on, man. Like, I know you don't like him, but that's just so, that's nasty. Not even just like it's rude. It's just nasty. But I guess that's her opinion of John. So it shows her character. Like she's good. She's good on her own, no matter what. She's good on her own. She's as good as Cassie and John. They're fire. It's just that bottle scene was nasty, bro. Genuinely disgusting. But regardless, John goes walking in the desert for a while. It's probably like a day, maybe 2 days, and he gets found out by some guy walking with a camel. He gets taken to the elder, and there, oh, here we. The elder is just like, so John, uh, you betrayed us. How? Why did you do it? Or why? What are you doing this for? And then he's like, for my wife Helen, to never forget her, to remember her always and forever. And also because they killed my dog and they took my car. And funnily enough, um, back with Sophia, when they shot her dog, she was like, John, they shot my dog. And then John's just like, I know, I understand. And it was like such a moment of realization. Like, if somebody else was in John's shoes, wouldn't they do the same thing? Or not the same thing, but something similar? Wouldn't they go kill the person that shot their dog if they had the power to, especially if they were in front of them? Like, how would you not take that opportunity? Well, excuse me. Would you take the opportunity? Because you were wronged. You were definitely wronged, and a dog who had nothing to do with it was taken as the price. It's messed up, really messed up. But regardless, yeah, so the elder is just like, alright, if you're doing this for your wife, then you want to live. The only way to live is for you to offer fealty to me. And John does that. There's they bring up the chopping block where John has to cut off his finger. But not just any finger, his ring finger. The one where he proposed to Helen with. And it's just like, bro, that's painful. That grammar was terrible, I'm sorry, but regardless, he does it. He cuts off the finger and gives the elder the ring. Or the elder pockets it, and he's like, "All right, all you have to do is just kill Winston, and then you're back in the what's it called, in the Continental, or in the High Table, or excuse me, yeah, the Continental, because the High Table is a bunch of families." But regardless, he's like, "All right, I served, and I will continue to serve." So he goes back to New York, and once he gets there, a group of people are waiting for him. Zero and his group, really cool guy, really cool guy, but he's really an a-hole as well. It's so cool, but he's also a fan of John Wick, so it's dope. It's really dope. Meanwhile, while John was on his journey in Morocco, stuff was going on in New York, bro. The educator shows up, and she's a member of the high table, not like the council, but somebody serving in the high table. And she's just like, all right, we're looking for everybody who helped out John Wick. So first we're going to Winston, and we're making him resign. And if he doesn't resign, we're gonna kill him. So he doesn't resign because he's the one that's been serving for 40 years. So he's not gonna give up that easily. Then they go to the theater where she serves fealty, or she promises fealty, and the price is her hands getting stabbed through with a katana. And like Zero's group is following the educator the entire time. And then the final person is the Bowery King, who lives, the homeless people guy. He gets 7 cuts to the body because of the 7 bullets that he gave to John in the Kimber in 1911 or 9/11. I don't remember. I think 1911. But everybody's hunting after the people who helped John and also for John. So when he comes back, Zero is waiting for him. They jump him, bro. They literally jump him in the train station, and a group of kids walk past Zero and John, like in between them, and John stops. Zero wasn't going to stop, and Zero says this like, "Yo, you're that's what makes you special, Wick. You stopped. I wouldn't have. You're a real special guy." And John disappears because he's an agent. At the end of the day, he's an assassin. and he goes to the Continental to find Winston, and he goes there. Uh, what was his dude's name? Karen, or I think Charon. I pronounce it Karen because that's how I know the name. But regardless, he's waiting for John because Zero was also chasing him, and what's his name? Charon is like, yo, no business on the Continental. And then Zero is just like, but he's excommunicado, and he's like, all right, but if you also want to be excommunicado, then you will stop this immediately. And so he stops, and they stop fighting to go into the Continental, and Zero and John sit right. John sits, and then Zero sits like really close to him, no space in between the two, and John or Zero is just like, I'm a really huge fan of you, alright? I really respect you. So you've lived up to the word that you are a crazy assassin. I'm just really excited to fight you, you know? And then John's just like, whatever. And one thing that keeps being mentioned is that Zero thinks that John and him are the same. But John disagrees. We are not the same. You and me are nothing alike. And they do a lot of like well, not foreshadowing, but more like how what's the word? They do a lot of things where they have reflections of each other, and Zero always comments like, "You and me are the same." I forgot what the word is called, like in literature, just in writing in English, what that word is called. But regardless, he goes to see Winston, and Winston gives him the rundown, like, "Yo, they're trying to kill me. You can kill me, and you can be put back into the Continental, or you can help me, you know?" And it's because John and Winston are friends, you know? At the end of the day, John doesn't want to do it. He's lost, wholeheartedly lost. And Winston gives him a good speech not to do it. And so John's like, all right, bet, I won't do it. And they have this crazy final fight at the Continental in New York. Everybody's raiding the Continental, a bunch of high table people with a bunch of armor. Karen and what's his dude's name? John are fighting against these guys, and Zero and his group are here ready to beef with all of them, and it's just getting crazy. The shootout is wild. The action is amazing. The set pieces are so cool, and one thing I liked about this one is that the reflections and optical illusion in this movie are better than the second one. The second one was just confusing and hard to see sometimes. While it was good, it was creative. This one did it better. The third one definitely did it better. And it's just so cool because once John goes up to where Zero is waiting for him at, it's just wave after wave of people fighting John. It's so cool. Wave one, John is getting tossed around into glass cases, but he manages to beat the two guys waiting for him down there. He goes up to floor two, and there's two Indonesian guys who are just like, "Oh, John Wick, I'm a big fan. Please make this the best fight ever." And John is just ready, bro. The man's so crazy that he's fighting people with a belt, bro. It's actually so cool. But he beats those two guys and then he fights Zero. Arguably, to me, probably the easiest fight. Because John, you know, he was getting ganked by people who were equally like on Cassie and Sophia level. But once he got to Zero, it was easier because it's a 1v1. And also, John is just better. But John had the dominant hand like mostly the entire fight, even though he was weak and tired and bruised up, you know, injured. So it just goes to show like they were not the same. There was so many cool scenes in this one, like how Zero was behind John, then John was behind Zero two times, and they're just fighting, and then the glass breaking, and it's just like, bro, oh my gosh, this final scene was so cool. It was genuinely so cool. Like this movie would be my favorite if like two decisions. Number one, John switching to help Winston. It makes sense why he would do that because he was lost. But at the same time, man lost his finger and sacrificed his ring for the elder. So like the finger's fine. Like John, I can see sacrificing a finger, but the ring, like unless if he's gonna go get the ring back himself, that's his wife's ring. He sacrificed that to serve under the elder, and it's just like now he's back with Winston. It's like how good is the friendship for that to be there? You know, like he sacrificed a lot, especially since his wife means so much to him. But I don't know. It was super weird to me. It was like it makes sense, but I don't know. I don't like that decision too well. Like him joining Winston is fine. It's just the severity of how much he went to pledge his loyalty to the Elder. Like, what was the point then, right? You know, what was the point of losing your finger, of losing your ring, if that was gonna happen? Like nobody knows. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but the ring, like that's the part that bothers me. The ring, you know. I don't know, but you know, after John beats Zero and he goes back down to Winston, they're having a parlay with the educator, and they're just basically like, all right, so Winston did this to show like, yo, I am worthy of being in the Continental. I do not care what you guys think. And so the educator's like, all right, you're reinstated. You're reconstrated, I think is what it's called. Or yeah, deconstrated. I don't remember what the word was, but and the educator was just like, all right, but what about John? The man has to die. And Winston's like, yeah, the man has to die. And he shoots John off of the building. He falls like 3 stories, and like he should be dead. The man should be dead wholeheartedly. Like the man got hit in the spine 3 times. The man should be cooked, completely dead, but he's not. And Winston basically betrayed John. And Karen is just like, all right, well, I mean that sucks, but what can you do, right? And they are the homeless people find John, and the Bowery King is just like, all right, John, are you angry? Cause I'm angry too. You want some revenge, or well, not Texan, not Southern, but like he has such a booming and powerful voice I can't recreate it, but it's basically like, you want revenge, John? You want revenge? And then John's just like, yeah. And that man is bruised up and tattered. And the crazy part about these movies is that John Wick 1 had like the biggest time span between a movie, where it's 1 to 2, where it's like a day, a couple days maybe. But then you have John Wick 2 and 3, where it's like immediately after one another. There's no time between the two. John is just so tired and bruised and hurt and injured. Like, the man has been fighting for so long. So many bruises and injuries and just killing and killing. The man is tired. So tired. But regardless, like, that's the end of the movie. Bowery King saves John, and now John Wick movie 4, or chapter 4, coming out March of this year. I think 26, if I remember correctly, 26 to 25th, around there. But I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen, anybody who identifies in between or outside of that normal spectrum. I am so excited. The only problem I had, again, the other only problem I had, was Winston's decision. I feel like that was a weird decision. After everything Winston went to gain John's trust and to show that they're friends, why would he betray him? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand. Like, I thought for a second, like, oh, maybe it's a plan that they had set up together where it's like, oh, Winston acts like he betrays John, but in reality, they double cross the educator and then they're gonna kill her. No, Winston just betrayed John Wick for no reason except to get back into the Continental. It's like, okay, you're fighting a losing battle over one man, right? John Wick is almost invincible because the man is crazy, but also it's everybody against you, every person, including the high table against you. So it's just like it's a losing battle, you know. But you like you literally pledged loyalty to each other, you know, like you guys are friends. What happened? What happened to that? That one was just so questionable to me. Like, why were they not? Why was he not loyal? You know why? And I guess it just goes to show like nobody in this world is really loyal in terms of the John Wick world. But like, goodness gracious, bro, it's just John just keeps getting backstabbed and backstabbed. It's like they help each other, but they always expect something in return. And if they don't get it, like they're gonna backstab you. In terms of the better hand, like that's always gonna happen. It's just like, dang, bro, like please just let the man have some, like let the man live. Please, he's been through so much. But those are basically the two decisions that got me a little bit. It was like, I don't like those two decisions. But regardless, this movie is still really good. Like if you ask me another day, I would give this movie like an 8.5. But it's really good. It's really really good. The action, the fighting, the noir setting. Since I didn't know like this movie was a neo noir film, but it's just so cool. The action pieces, or excuse me, the action, the set pieces, the story. Like this movie is great. This movie is genuinely great. John Wick has been such a pleasant surprise to watch. I love these movies. They're so good. They're honestly so good, and they change my perception of action completely. Like I always just thought action was like explosions and shooting and fighting and just a bunch of like people just shooting and everything. It's just guns, you know? Like John Wick is fist fighting and shooting, but no explosions. Like sure explosions happen, but not because John Wick. He's not like the Terminator or well, I guess Die Hard or stuff like that. It's just so cool to me that he's just one man who is fallible. He can die, and he's come close to dying multiple times. But the man is lucky, he's smart, and he's good. He's Baba Yaga for a reason, bro. He is Baba Yaga. So it's just so cool seeing him go through all of this and not like a single explosion, bro. Like the man has shotguns, ARs, and pistols. He does most of this with pistols and hand-to-hand combat. It's so cool. Genuinely so cool. I love it, bro. These movies are awesome and I can't wait for the fourth one. So it's a 9. This movie is a 9 for sure. And the music as well. Just the setting, awesome, bro. The entire time. Awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there for now. I can't wait to talk about chapter 4. I these videos again are pre-recorded, like most of them. So chapter 4, I'm gonna go watch it, but it might be a couple days before I make the video on it. Gonna go watch it with some friends or with a friend of mine. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really cool. But yeah, I'll make a video on that. It'll come out. I'll let you guys know. But thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoy. And I'll see you all in the next video. This has been Infamous Isaac. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.